So good evening to one and all present here, and this is Ms. R.V. Ashvika. I'm working as assistant professor in computer science and engineering department at Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham, Chennai campus. Okay, and today we'll be seeing the basics of what is machine learning and what are the types of machine learning available, and then followed by that you can just recognize the face using the Python code, right? So for the previous two classes, you would have studied the basics of Python. So now we'll be just moving on to the introduction of machine learning, and we'll be just seeing what are the types of machine learning, and followed by that, you'll be just having a hands-on session on the face recognition by either tomorrow or day after tomorrow, right? So first of all, yeah. So the next, we'll be seeing about the machine learning techniques today. So what is intelligent, right? So here, before knowing the definition for machine learning, you must know what is intelligence, right? So the ability to learn or understand or to deal with new situations, okay? You're making the system to react to the new situation. That should be, it should be an unseen, okay? It should be a new environment. So you're training your system to adapt and learn all the consequences so that it can adapt to the new environment. So the ability to learn or understand by itself to deal with the unseen situations. Okay, so that is intelligence. So we are actually making the system to learn by itself. So that is the first motive of machine learning. So what is machine intelligence in the sense? You're making the system to learn by itself. Okay, so then the machine will itself understand all the situations and it will react to the new or unseen situations in future. Okay, so then you have learned what is intelligence, but now what is learning then? Okay, so learning is any process by which a system will improve the performance from experience. Okay, so here what is experience? Experiences in terms of computer system. So experiences for computers will come in the form of data. Okay, so previous 10 years data, 20 years data, for any one particular applications, you will be giving all the previous history as data to the system. Okay, so here experiences are nothing but the data which you will be giving as an input to the system. Okay, so that your system will learn all the previous year data, so it will gain a knowledge from that and it will use that particular knowledge to solve the any given task. Okay, so what the task can be? The task can be a classification task, or it can be a problem solving, any problem solving task. Okay, or in case if you want to use machine learning for any planning or computer aided designing type of techniques, you can also use that. Okay, so the main aim of machine learning is to automate the system, right, in order to perform some task and also improve the performance, right? So at last the result you can either gain, you can either get the result with a loss or gain. Okay, there can be either gain in your performance or you can also have the performance loss. Okay, so why are you getting the performance loss? What is the reason behind that? It's because of generalization error. Okay, because the previous here, the experience which you're giving for the data is not that much sufficient. Okay, so learning is any process that helps the system to improve the performance from experience, right? I hope you understand now what is experience. So for any computer system, experience is nothing but a data. Okay, history of data, right? So it improves performance for any given particular task. Again, I'm telling a task in the sense here you can perform any task like classification, binary classification, multi-class classification. Okay, then if you want to just design a game, okay, or you want to solve 8 queens problem, okay, so or you want to just design, you want to just develop a computer aided automatic detection system for medical diagnosis. All these are tasks that the machine can do. So to performing this, the machine needs data. Okay, so the data is called as the experience. Okay, so now why we are going for machine learning? Because machine learning will help the system to learn by itself without any human intervention. Okay, so you don't want any teachers or you don't want any programmers to teach the system. Okay, so the machine learning algorithms, whichever you're creating, will automatically take decisions on new or unseen data. Okay, so that the only thing what we have to do is that we have to train the system with the help of the previous experience. Okay, so again, experience is nothing but the data which you are giving as an input to the algorithm. Okay, so computers are required, right? That to high end computers, like you need at least minimum 1 TB hard disk kind of systems with GPU support. Okay, graphical processing unit should be there. So you should have high end systems along with you to perform this machine learning kind of tasks and all. So whenever you write the machine learning algorithm and whenever you train the algorithm with the data, your system will automatically take decisions for the new situation or for the unseen task. Okay, your machine learning algorithm will automatically extract relevant information from data. Okay, see, for example, the experience, whatever experience you're giving, normal traditional programming, in order to make your normal program to work, what you will give? You have to write the program, you have to give the input. So your corresponding program will give you the output, right? But your machine learning is somewhat intelligent, right? So what your machine learning requires here is that if you give the output, okay, and the data alone, if you give, that is enough, your machine learning will find the relationship between the input and the output, right? So it will automatically identify what is the relationship from one data to another data. So it will automatically extract the relevant information from the input data which you are giving. Okay, so it will learn by itself. The only thing which is needed is that you have to give a lot of training samples. Okay, it can be a text data or it can also be an images. Okay, for example, the topic which is given is face recognition, right? So for that, definitely you will be giving the face images, right? So here your data is like you will be giving thousands or 2000s of images as input to your algorithm. Okay, so automatically your system will understand and it will learn all the relevant information and then it will apply that to the new data. Okay, so how it will apply? See, now you're giving a kind of 1000 images as an example and as an input, right? So the machine will learn what is the expression for being happy, what is the expression for being sad. Okay, so it will label the images by itself, right? So whenever you just give the images alone, it will predict whether that particular person is happy or sad. Okay, so all the facial expressions and all can be easily identified and recognized with the help of machine learning algorithms. So machine learning algorithms will extract the relevant information from the data which you are giving. Okay, so that is machine learning. And why particularly this last 2 to 3 years, why machine learning is on rise? Because 5 to 10 years back, you don't have very high sophisticated systems, right? So it's just because of this high performance computers, okay, and larger data to handle and greater computational power, okay, which is all these constraints are not available for, like when you consider 5 to 10 years back, you don't have that much high performance systems, right? So you don't have GPU kind of systems, graphical processing unit kind of systems. But nowadays you have high-end systems where CPU is integrated with GPU, right? So you have high performance system now. You have lot of computational resources available right now, isn't it? And you have lot of online data, right? So the main aim of implementing the machine learning algorithm itself to handle the big data, right? So nowadays, because the digital data are evolving day by day, right? So the amount of data which you are using, the Gmail data, Facebook data, right? Your login information or whatever you're just sharing with your friends, and the comments which you're sending, and the like or dislike which you're making, everything is a record. Everything is a data, right? So each and every one of us have a Facebook account, a Gmail account. So all our data, see, for example, every day you're using mobile phones, right? So what is the songs you're hearing, what books you're learning, from which website you're referring the books, okay, what songs you're frequently hearing, right? And what is the frequently visited websites, all the details about you will be stored in the database. So there are a lot of online data available for each and every person, right? So officially for any Flipkart kind of e-commerce sites also, there will be lot of informations available in online about a particular customer, what the customer is purchasing day by day, what are the frequently purchased products, isn't it? So a lot of online data are available nowadays. This is all because of in the recent 5 to 10 years only, right? So since the digital data is increasing day by day, you have to handle the data properly, right? So having large amount of data without any use is of waste only, right? So you have a large amount of data in your hand. So you are applying some intelligent algorithms and you are taking some innovative predictions. You're making decisions, okay? So where this machine learning algorithms are heavily or widely useful in the sense for recommendation systems, right? So you can see the recommended videos which you will be getting frequently when you are watching YouTube, right? And also in other websites like Flipkart or Amazon kind of app, you will be getting the recommended products, right? So how you're getting the recommended products, what is the backend logic for everything is all about your machine learning, right? So since we have large amount of data to handle, okay, and you're also having high performance systems and larger memory capacity also, and greater computational power is also needed for handling the machine learning algorithms. So all this is available right now, right? So it's the right time to learn machine learning to handle all kinds of big data. The data can be in any form. The data can be a text data, it can be in images, or it can be a news article data, it can be a medical data, right? So you can have large amount of data. The data can be in any form, heterogeneous nature, okay? So the data will be in heterogeneous format. So in order to handle the heterogeneous data, in order to compress all the data to a single format, okay, for all these things you need an efficient machine learning algorithm, right? So because of all these reasons only, you're studying the machine learning now. And the main aim, the main objective why the machine learning and all is frequently used nowadays is because of the increased use of digital data. Okay, so each and every one of us, whatever laptop or desktop or mobile phones, whichever you're using, you're giving data to someone. Okay, so each and every data about ourselves are stored in online. Okay, so in order to handle all those things, you have perfect machine learning technique, right? Right. So these are some of the quotes that have been given from the top company CEOs. They are telling that machine learning is the next internet. Why? Because most of the online e-commerce sites are running successfully because of this machine learning only. Because of that algorithms which is running at the back end, so they're able to identify what is the most sold out product, right? What are the products that the customers are buying frequently? So all these informations they can get 1 or 2 months before itself. So depending upon that report which has been generated, depending upon the prediction which has been taken already, they can improve their business in online. Okay, so machine learning is the next internet where the machine learning algorithms are running at the back end for YouTube, for Facebook kind of things, right? Where you'll be getting the friend suggestions, right? Friend recommendations will be given, right? So like the most shared topic in the last 1 week, right? So you, with the help of all these informations, you can even identify what is the frequently visited or visited site in a day, okay? Or what is the hot research topic everybody is focusing on, right? So likewise, the most trending topics or the most trending videos, it can be easily identified with the help of machine learning. Okay, so you have a word count, Hadoop kind of technology and all is available. With the help of Hadoop, map reduce techniques and all, you can identify the most trending videos or the most trending topic that has been frequently communicated in WhatsApp or Twitter, whatever it is. So machine learning is most of the machine learning algorithms. Okay, there are two types of machine learning algorithm, like traditional machine learning and advanced machine learning algorithms, right? So traditional machine learning algorithms only in the recent years, lot of machine learning algorithms were used for this internet, right? Whereas advanced machine learning techniques are widely useful for medical image processing kind of applications. Okay, and as I told, all the online applications or all the online kind of e-commerce sites are running successfully because of this machine learning only. Web rankings today are mostly a matter of machine learning, right? With the help of machine learning only, most of the online applications are running successfully because of the Hadoop kind of programs, which are Hadoop is a kind, it's actually a Java based platform, okay, where you have to write a coding in Java, and map reduce concept is there. So these kind of Hadoop related things are very much helpful for finding the most trending things in online. Okay, so that's why machine learning is called as the next internet. Okay, so machine learning is all about having a lot of data. Okay, you must have millions of data in your hand, so that if you feed your system or if you give the lot of history, it's all about experiences, right? So you should give a lot of data to your machine. Okay, so your machine will learn by itself, and the machine will give the prediction very fast. Okay, so the hypothesis or the prediction will be made by the system as an output. Okay, the only thing which is needed is we have to give a lot of informations to the machine learning algorithm. So then only the performance will be a gain. Otherwise, you will be having a loss in the performance. Okay, so whenever you give millions of input training samples, your machine learning algorithm will work excellent, and it will also give you the predictions and hypothesis and all will be positive, right? So I told you, right, there are two types of algorithms, right? One is the traditional machine learning algorithm, and another one is the advanced machine learning algorithms, right? So under the traditional machine learning algorithms, you will be having a support vector machine algorithm. Then you will be having a clustering, linear regression. There are a lot of algorithms available. Principal component analysis, lot of the algorithms are available for traditional machine learning, right? So one drawback in traditional machine learning is that you need a large data set in order to help your system to learn well. Okay, but for advanced machine learning, right, you can tell neural networks, okay, convolution neural networks, for deep learning kind of things. Deep learning and all is an advanced version of machine learning. Okay, in order to train the convolution neural networks, or in order to train the advanced machine learning algorithms, you no need large amount of data. Okay, even with insufficient data, you can really make a fruitful predictions from that. Okay, so in order to overcome the problem of insufficient training samples, your advanced machine learning algorithms are very much useful for that. Okay, so now I hope you understand what is machine learning. The ability of the system to learn by itself without any help from the programmers or without any human intervention. Okay, the only one thing which is required for machine learning is that experience. Experience is nothing but a lot of training samples or the previous year data. Okay, so that's it. Right. So as I already told, a computer program is set to learn from experience E with respect to some class of task T. Okay, and performance measure P. So what is here the task T? See, the task can be, you can just you can write the machine learning algorithm to find whether the particular mail ID is spam or not. Okay, so that is the task, right? So in order to identify whether the particular mail ID is spam or not, you have to give a lot of training example mail IDs to your system. So that is called an experience. So your performance depends. Performance means the prediction. Okay, prediction is correct or not. How accurate is your prediction? So that is called your performance, right? So how accurate is your prediction? Is your prediction is correct? The predicted mail ID is spam or it is not a spam. Okay, whether your algorithm is predicting that correctly. So that depends upon your performance. Okay, so if your algorithm is predicting correctly, then there will be a gain in performance. Okay, if your algorithm is not predicting correctly, then there will be a loss in the performance, right? So the task is to identify whether the particular email ID is spam or not. Okay, so for this you have to give a lot of training mail IDs as an example. Okay, so that is called as a computer program is set to learn from the experience E. Okay, with respect to class of task T and performance P. And here experience in the sense, you have to tell your system the input should have two things, right? You should have an mail ID, and you should also tell whether that mail ID is spam or not. Okay, so these two details only you will be giving as an example as an experience to your system. Okay, you will see, for example, 50,000 mail IDs are there, and 50,000 mail IDs, you'll be informing the system that whether it is a spam ID or not. Okay, so the system will understand why the mail ID is spam, why the mail ID is not spam. It will read all the contact list from your mail ID, and then it will make the prediction whether the particular mail ID is spam or not. Okay, so with respect to task T, here the task can be anything. Okay, I can also predict whether the particular person is a diabetic patient or not. Okay, so the task can be different. So depending upon the task, I should give the experience data. Okay, right? So your performance will be increased depending upon the input which you are giving. Okay, so performance is purely dependent upon the experience and the number of data which you are giving. Okay, right? So machine learning will help you to design and develop the algorithms, so that will automatically extract the information from the data which you are giving. Okay, so you just feed the data to the algorithm, it will automatically extract the relevant information with the techniques which you are writing, which you are specifying inside your system. See, for example, you can have for a single patient, right? Let us consider a single patient is taking like 20 to 30 tests. Okay, so it's not that every patient who's visiting the hospital will be taking all the master checkups. It's not that every person who are visiting the hospital, they will not take master checkups, right? So what, like depending upon the health condition or depending upon the symptoms, what they're having, they'll be just taking that particular test alone, right? So for few patients, the data are insufficient. Okay, whereas for few patients, you have larger amount of data in your hand. Okay, so in that cases, you can apply some dimensionality reduction algorithms. Okay, so what is dimensionality reduction? You can reduce the unwanted data. Okay, see, for example, in order to predict whether the patient will have a diabetic or not, so you just need the test related to diabetes, right? So pre-diabetic condition, post-diabetic condition, right? And thyroid condition. What are the necessary tests that is needed? That alone you will be extracting. Okay, whereas the unwanted informations which is not needed, that will be neglected. Okay, so this is achieved with the help of dimensionality reduction. Okay, so you may have a lot of data in your hand, so processing all the lot of unwanted data is a waste of time, right? So before giving the algorithms as an input, before giving the data as an input to the algorithm, you can pre-process the data. Okay, if your data is a text data, you can apply the text processing algorithms to change your data, to reduce your data, or to extract the useful informations from your data. Okay, in case if your data is an image, okay, in that case what you will do, you have to extract very essential features from the image. Okay, so all this is done with the help of machine learning algorithms only. So having a lot of data in hand also will not be that much useful, because it is of waste of time. Unnecessarily, you're giving 20,000 data to your machine will definitely increase the time of learning, right? So reduce the dimension of the data. So all the essential data alone will be fetched and the unwanted data will be neglected with the help of dimensionality reduction algorithm. Okay, and on the other hand, you will be having an insufficient data. See, for example, I'm having 150 patients details with me, right? And for each and every patient, I have taken 10 tests. Okay, that it can be a BP test, okay, blood pressure test, sugar level. So likewise, height and weight, all the tests, like I have taken nearly 10 tests for each and every patient, right? But even then, by mistake, I have some empty values there. Okay, for 2 or 3 patients, or like 4 to 5 patients, I don't have the values for 2 to 3 tests. In that case, what I can do, I can even pre-process and I can predict the data for that particular patient, right? So even if there is some data are missing, I can handle that missing data problem with the help of the machine learning algorithms, right? So extract the useful information and learn the relationship between the data is automatically done with the help of the machine learning algorithms. Okay, so this is what I keep on telling, the difference between the traditional program and the machine learning. Traditional programming means the normal techniques without using machine learning. Okay, so for a computer system, you're giving the program. Okay, you assume that you are just giving addition of two numbers or finding the square root or calculating the salary, whatever may be the program. Okay, and you're giving the test data for that program. So that is the input. So program is there and input is also given to that particular program. So your computer, what the normal traditional programming, what will happen? Your computer will just predict the output depending upon the code which you have written, isn't it? So this is the normal thing. Whenever the data is given, say for example, adding two numbers, C equal to A plus B, right? So A and B values will be automatically produced by the user at the runtime. Okay. So what the computer will do, the computer will check what is the code, C equal to A plus B. So the computer will just add the two numbers and give the result depending upon the code which you are writing, isn't it? But machine learning is somewhat different, okay, where you don't want to write the program and all. So you are just feeding the algorithm with the output, that is the label, okay, and the data. Label in the sense I told you, no, your data in the sense for, let us consider the application of finding out whether the email is a spam or not. Okay, so where the data will be the mail IDs of particular persons. Okay, so for example, I can give 1000 mail IDs as data. Okay, and output also I'm giving to the machine. I'm just telling whether that is a mail, a spam ID or not spam. Okay, a non-spam ID. Okay, so the machine, it learns the email ID as well as the output, whether it is a spam or not. And depending upon that particular data and output which you're giving, it will learn all the like useful information, or it will learn all the relevant informations, and whenever you're trying to give the new mail ID, it will just tell whether it is a spam or not spam. Okay, so your program automatically, it learns by itself, it will upgrade by itself. So you don't want to sit and write coding for everything. Okay, so depending upon the training time, okay, depending upon the number of samples which you are giving, your program will your machine learning algorithm will perform better. Okay, so the thing which is required here is, for the traditional machine learning algorithm to work properly or to give high performance, what you have to do is that you have to feed the machine learning algorithm with more number of the training samples. Okay, so that your algorithm will find the relationship between the data. It will identify and extract all the useful informations, and the knowledge will learn. The knowledge will take place in a better manner. Okay, so learning will happen in a better manner. Okay, your system will learn more and more efficiently. And whenever a new input is given, your system will predict the result automatically. Okay, so the machine does not need any external help to make the predictions. So with the help of the inputs which you have given, right? So your algorithm will automatically predict the output for the unseen data. So that is the concept, right? So yeah, your machine learning will improve the performance for any given task based on the data samples which you are giving. So your machine will understand more. Okay, your machine will learn by itself with the help of the large amount of data which you are giving. Okay, so give more training samples, give more than 1 lakh data sets. Okay, so give more than 50,000 data sets, right? So that your learning of your algorithm gets improved, right? So whatever unseen data you're giving, it will make a fruitful decisions for the unseen data. So prediction performance will be gainful. Okay, so that's the machine learning algorithm. So benefits, right? So when you will be using this machine learning kind of algorithms, whenever the human expertise does not exist. Okay, see, for example, you want to perform some investigations or navigation on Mars. Okay, where the human cannot exist there, right? So human expertise does not exist in those kind of places. You can use the machine learning algorithms to excel in those kind of applications. Okay, whenever humans are unable to explain their expertise, speech recognition, okay, in those kind of applications where the humans cannot explain their expertise, there you can implement the machine learning algorithms, right? Or in cases where the solutions change in time. Okay, and those kind of applications, for biometric applications, for the automatic satellite kind of applications and all, you can implement the machine learning algorithms because you'll be having abundant of data is there, right? So your system will perform better, and the generalization of the model also will be increased. Okay, so far you have seen all the basic things of machine learning, which is all about learning by itself without having any human intervention. So without requiring any support from the human intervention, but only one thing which is needed is the abundant data. Okay, lot of data are needed. Okay, so let us see what are the real world examples that is being benefited with the help of machine learning. Okay, so as you all know, the machine learning is dependent on three parameters. What are those three parameters? Task, performance, and experience, right? So task can be anything. I told you, in the previous example, the task was finding whether the email is spam or not, right? Similarly, here the task is playing checkers. Okay, so that is your task. So for this, what will be the experience, or what will be the data you'll be giving as an input to your system? Playing practice games again itself. Okay, so you will be feeding all the inputs which is required for playing practice games for that for your system. Okay, so your performance of your system gets increased. Okay, and the second example will be recognizing the handwritten words. Okay, for online handwriting recognition. So we all will be having a different kind of handwritings, right? So some people will be finding it difficult to identify what kind of letter it is or what kind of number it is, right? So in order to recognize the handwritten words properly, your machine learning algorithm is much useful. Okay, so for this, what will be the experience which you will be giving to your system? Of course, the labels, labeled images. Okay, you'll be writing some words, or alphabets or numbers in your handwritten, right? So you'll be having 0 to 9 images, 9-letter images, and in different handwriting. Okay, and you will also be having the images representing the uppercase A to Z alphabets and small letter A to Z alphabets. Okay, so all are written by human. Okay, so you will be giving different handwritings of humans as an input to your system. Okay, and you will also label it, whether the particular what is the output of that particular image. It is 1 or it is 7, because most of us will be writing the 1 and 7 in a similar way, right? So that depends upon the handwriting. And number 5 will be mispredicted as yes sometimes. Yes, so all kind of those problems can be overcome in online with the help of machine learning techniques, right? So here you will be giving the input as a database. Okay, a large amount of database consisting of images. Okay, so the images are nothing but the handwritten letters or the handwritten numbers. So each and every number and the letter will be labeled in the sense the output also will be specified. Okay, so the machine will understand and predict. The machine will understand all the images. Why this particular image is 1, why this particular image is 7. So all these details will be understood by the system. It will learn by itself. Then whenever you're testing your algorithm, whenever you're giving a new image, it will predict whether it is 5 or it is an S alphabet. Okay, so your performance will be improved. Your algorithm will correctly classify the words properly. Okay, and another one example is your automatic driving. Okay, so you can just call the task as driving on the 4-lane highways using the sensors. Okay, so automatic driving and all, you know that it will be implemented with the help of the sensors only. Again, for this you will be having a lot of images as an input. In the third example, you can see that the input is heterogeneous in nature. Heterogeneous in the sense you need images as an input, as well as the steering commands will be given. Okay, whether to turn it left or turn towards right, apply brake, you will be having such certain kind of commands also available, and all these things will be given as an input to your machine, right? So in this kind of algorithm, in this kind of applications, your data are heterogeneous in nature. Okay, so you can also give the different distribution data. Okay, and then you can feed the images, right? So what will the machine do if there is a hole on the particular place, or if there is some accident happened in front of your vehicle? Okay, so what your vehicle will take, what about the innovative decisions it is making. So everything is there. It will sense. The sensor is also there. All the real-time happenings also will be captured by the camera, which is fixed in that vehicle. Okay. So with the help of the previous images, which is given as an input, and the commands also available, or automatically it will be available there in the database. So depending upon that, it will judge what to do in that particular situation. If there is any accident happened on the roadside, it will automatically turn the other route, okay, turn towards other route to reach the destination. So all innovative decisions will be taken with the help of the data which you're already giving as an experience to your system. Okay. And the next example I already told you, right? So classifying whether the email messages or spam or legitimate. Okay. So instead of identifying the mail IDs as spam, here you're considering the content of the email messages. Okay. So you can see that some email message content are inappropriate for us, right? So you can feed your system your mail ID and the content what is there in that mail ID. Okay. So here you will be having three kinds of input attributes. What will be the data you are giving to the system? The data which you are giving for your system is your email ID, and also the content what is there in that email ID. Okay, what is there in the body of the email. Okay, it is an inappropriate content, right? So that will be given as an input, and then you will tell whether it is a spam or not. Okay, so likewise you can give n number of mail IDs and n number of the content. Okay, so that depending upon the content which you are giving, it will identify whether that particular mail ID is spam or not. So even for this, several machine learning algorithms are useful. Okay, so these are some of the 4 different simple algorithms, simple applications which are widely, for which the machine learning algorithms are widely used. Okay, and some more examples are also there. For example, recognizing patterns. I told you, no, facial expressions. Okay, you have to feed the computer system with lot of images. Okay, so you can have some facial expression images telling that whether the person is sad or happy, okay, or a surprise kind of thing, or whether the person is crying or not, or whether the person is thinking. So you can take the facial expression in different form, and you can give that images as an input to your model. Along with the output, you have to tell whether that particular face is happy or not. Okay, whether that particular face is sad or not, whether the particular person who's in that image, no, that face, you have to recognize whether that person is crying or not. So all those things you will be giving as an input. The images also will be given, and correspondingly you will also give the caption for that image. Okay, whether as I told, whether the person is sad or happy, or he is in a surprise situation kind of thing. So all those things will be given as an input. So your system will recognize the pattern by itself. Okay, so whenever you just give any image, it will tell whether that particular person is happy or not. Okay, so medical images. Okay, now if you want to find the lesions, lesions in the sense a stone, okay, or cyst. Okay, all this is like a stone kind of things which is available in different parts of the organs. Okay, and medical images are widely useful for finding whether the person is having a tumor or not. Okay, and what are the applications that gets benefited, in the sense you can tell the liver lesions, segmenting liver lesions. Okay, whether the person is having a renal cell carcinoma cancer. Okay, to identify whether the particular person is having cancer or not, to find whether the particular person is having tumor or not. Okay, to identify any rare diseases available and all. Your machine learning algorithm will find it easily with the help of the medical images that is given as an input. Okay, so how your machine learning algorithm will work here? You should feed X-rays or CT scan or MRI. There are a lot of modalities available, right? So CT scan is there, MRI is there, and what ultrasound kind of things is there, DBT, digital breast tomography kind of. So a lot of machines are there to capture the images of the patient's body, right? So unnecessarily, whenever you're taking a lot of X-rays, no, it will also lead to cancer, as you all know, right? So in order to avoid the patients to have a lot of exposure to these radiations, we are using some innovative algorithms to find whether find earliest, that too finding too earliest to avoid the patient to get rid of all those things, right? So you're making the patients to avoid taking these kind of radiation exposure things in the future, right? So with the help of like 1,000 or 2,000, like medical images are very limited in nature. Like, see, for example, you can find 1 million data, the normal data, non-medical images like cat, dog, flower, or house, or nature related images and all. You can find lot more in online. Okay, there are a lot of online databases available to fetch the non-medical images, right? When it comes to medical images, no one will give you the medical data because you have to get certain privacy rights and all for that, because no one will give you their own medical related informations to you, right? So whenever you visit hospital also, they will be having some certain kind of copyrights and all to be cleared first, and then only the images will be given, right? So with the help of like minimum images only will be available for medical domain. With the minimum images, you will be able to identify whether the particular person is having a tumor or cyst or calculi kind of diseases. Okay, so your machine learning algorithms are very much efficient to recognize the disease, even the rare disease at the earliest stage. Okay, so that the patients will have low risk of being exposed to the radiation kind of things. Okay, and one more drawback is also you have a lot of modalities like medical modalities, like CT scan will be different from DBT. Okay, and the MRI will be different from ultrasound. So in order to handle this itself, it will be very complicated. So you have to write some innovative algorithms in order to handle the different kind of modalities. Okay, then of course generating patterns, and also for finding the fraud credit card transactions. Okay, and for finding the unusual sequences of credit card transactions, and for identifying the unusual patterns in the nuclear power plant. Okay, nuclear power plant and all, you can just use this innovative machine learning algorithms where the manpower can be reduced, because it is very risky environment to work, right? So in those kind of things, in those kind of areas, you can make use of this innovative machine learning algorithms in order to make the fruitful decisions. So unusual patterns of sensor readings and all will be identified, so that the human power, manpower can be saved, right? Life of man can be saved because of predicting these unusual patterns of sensor readings at the earlier time, right? And stock market. So predicting the stock market prices and currency exchange rates also, machine learning algorithms are playing a major role in those kind of applications, right? For future stock prices and currency rate and all, the dollar rates and all will be identified, and the predictions is quite very accurate with the help of the machine learning algorithms. Okay, so yeah, as I already told you, so here there are different types of learnings available, right? So all these kinds of learnings are requires a lot of data. Okay, very big data sets are required to identify the spam filtering or fraud detection of credit cards. Okay, recommendation systems, I told you. Recommended videos you can get in YouTube, right? Recommended products you can get in Amazon. Okay, you're just making an online shopping, right? So based upon your interest, they themselves will ask you to buy this product. Okay, see, for example, whoever is purchasing bread in online, definitely they have to purchase jam also, right? Even in case if you're not purchasing, they will remind you, okay, or they will recommend you to buy the jam also along with the bread. Okay, so those kind of recommendation algorithms are happening even in real time today. Okay, it is not only today, long back they are making use of this recommendation algorithms at the back end. Okay, so that's why you are receiving the recommended videos in YouTube and in the friend suggestions in Facebook and all, right? And trending videos and trending topic which is discussed and all, you're identifying easily with the help of this machine learning algorithm. Okay, and similar content can also be easily identified. Okay, see, you're having see, for example, you have 1 lakh data in your hand. Okay, but you want to identify a document or an image which is similar to your document. Okay, even in that case, machine learning algorithm will work in a fraction of seconds and it will give you a result. Okay, so for plagiarism, for detecting plagiarism, right? So plagiarism is very important to ensure that you have not copied it from any online resource. So whenever you have a large amount of data in online, okay, you're checking whether your particular document is similar to any other document in online. Okay, so all these kind of things can be easily done with the help of the machine learning kind of things. Even you will be having a huge database. From that huge database, the data whichever you need for that particular time alone will be fetched, that alone will be retrieved, and that alone can be visualized. Okay, so these many advantages are there for machine learning. That's why, because of having high-end systems, see, for normal text processing kind of applications and all, you don't require a high-end system to work. Okay, in order to work with your images for medical data sets, or you're working with videos, okay, you're predicting a crime, okay, with the help of the video sequences, you're predicting whether it is a crime video or not. So for processing the videos, for processing the images and all, that too in larger number, you have more than 12 lakhs of data, you have more than 13 lakhs of videos. Okay, so in order to process that, you need high-end systems. So all those systems are available now, right? So that's why the machine learning algorithms are also in right now. Okay, but the one thing which you want to know down is that your system should perform well. That is the generalization of your model, right? Sometimes your algorithm will not perform well. Why? What are the challenges why your algorithm will not perform well? Because of unbalanced data set. Okay, see, for example, I have two classes, right? So maybe for example, I'm giving the image as an input, and I want to identify whether that image is having a cat or dog. I want to recognize the object in the image. Okay, that object is either a cat or a dog. Your machine learning algorithm should recognize the object in your image. Okay, so when your algorithm will not perform well, right? So you have two objects, two classes, right? So you have 1,000, for example, you have 10,000 images for your cat recognizing, which means that you're having 10,000 images that represent cat, okay? And you have only 2,000 images that represent dog. So see, there is an imbalance in the data sets, right? So whenever you're training your machine learning algorithm, make sure all the objects or all the images are equal in size. Okay, otherwise your algorithm may perform poor, because the generalization of your model, the learning will not happen in a better way. Okay, why? Because you have more than 10,000 data representing the cat image. Okay, but you have only a few images that represents the dog. Okay, so the imbalance is like 2:10 ratio, right? So only 2% is that of a dog, whereas remaining the 8% is of all about your cat. So in that time, your machine will not recognize the dog well. Okay, so here, how can you give 10,000 images of cats? Okay, it's not a single image, it's not all about a single cat. Okay, you can have different kind of cats, okay, in different positions. And there are different variety of cats available, right? So you can consider all the images of different cats in different poses. Like the cat can be standing on the normal grass area, or they can be inside your home, right? You can represent the cat images in different way. So 10,000 images are there to recognize that the particular image is cat. Okay, the cat can be red or black, or it can be white in color. You're giving a different representation for that particular object. Okay, but whereas you're just giving 2,000 data to represent that it is a dog. Okay, the dog can be a small in size, it can be a puppy, or it can be a grown dog, right? So there are only less amount of data available to learn one particular object. Okay, so in that case, learning will not happen well. Your prediction will not be accurate. Okay, whenever you're giving the new data, it may mispredict the dog as cat. Why? Because the learning which has happened for dog is not sufficient. Why? Because there is an insufficient data for dog. Okay, so there is an imbalance in the data set, so it does not generalize well. Okay, so finally, these are the machine learning applications, right? So where the machine learning algorithms plays a major role for analytics, for giving help in financial modeling, for human computer interaction, and it plays a major role for medical applications, okay, and for image processing kind of things also. And whenever you're giving the image, okay, the caption for that image will be generated. See, think how the how intelligent the machine is, right? Whenever you're just giving an image as an input, your machine learning algorithm can give captions. It can give 2 or 3 sentence explanation representing that image. It can tell, see, for example, I am giving an image that consists of 5 people who are sitting on a table, right? And they are having a coffee for a meeting, right? So your system will identify what is the situation happening, and your system will give all these situations in the sentence form. So captions will be generated. Okay, so it will give different captions. A group of people sitting and having a chat along with them. Okay, a group of people is having a coffee, or a group of people is sitting in a dining table. You may have different captions generated. Okay, so your machine is intelligent enough to generate the captions in the form of sentences to describe your image. So these are all successful machine learning applications, which is most widely useful. Okay. And apart from that, before going to this face recognition kind of applications and all, you should know what is training sample. You should know what is validation. Okay, because you will be having hands-on session, right? Tomorrow, day after tomorrow, professors will be giving you an explanation of how to perform facial recognition, right? So in that time, you should know what is a label. Okay, what is a feature? Okay, and what is a target? Okay, and what should be the output? Okay, and what is the training and validation samples. All these things you should know whenever you're giving or whenever you're running some algorithms and whenever you're giving some inputs to your algorithms. Okay, so the thing is that, see, examples are nothing but what task you are going to give it to your system, right? Already I told examples are nothing but the previous history or data, whichever you're giving, right? And what is the feature? See, for example, now I'm considering the Excel sheet. Okay, I'm having an Excel sheet with me and I have 50 patients details. Okay, so the data set count is 50. Okay, but what are the features of that 50 patients? Like age, gender, BP test value, okay, height value, weight value, okay, and what is the cholesterol level. So these are all the attributes that can be, these are all the features for a single patient. Okay, so likewise you can have n number of the features for one patient, right? So I'm having an Excel sheet and I have only 50 patients in my Excel sheet. Okay, but what are the features there? The features can be a name, gender, age, BP level, cholesterol level, and height and weight level. All these can be the features. Okay, and label. Label means you are telling whether, see, for a single person, you have n number of the features. Okay, so by considering all that features, you should tell whether that particular person is having diabetic or not. Okay, so diabetic or non-diabetic. So that is your label. Okay, so binary classification means yes or no. That's all, binary classification. Okay, whereas when you're telling multi-class classification, what is multi-class classification means? You're telling whether the particular image, the object in the image is a cat, dog, or it is a flower. So you have more than 2 categories. Okay, to tell as a result. So that case you can call it as multi-class classification. Whereas binary classification means yes or no. That's all. So your labels are nothing but you're telling whether the person is a non-diabetic patient or the diabetic patient by considering all the features. Okay, and giving this as an example, see, now you have 1,000 data set in your hand. Okay, you should not give all the 1,000 data as an input to your machine learning algorithm. So what you should do is that you should split your data. Okay, like 70% of the data can be given for training, for making your system to understand. Okay, so remaining 10% of the algorithms can be given for testing, okay, and remaining 20% of the data can be given for validation, okay. So whenever you have 100 sets or whenever you have 1000 data with you, you need not give all the 1000 data for training, okay. So what you have to do is you have to split your data for training, testing, and validation, okay. So these are the important things which you must know before writing the machine learning algorithms. And as I already told, lot of applications are there which is gaining lot of benefits because of this machine learning algorithm, like face recognition, then detection of objects. As I already told you, know, objects means whenever the image is given, you have to identify whether it is a cat or a dog, okay. Even in case whenever you're giving a medical image, whenever you're giving an x-ray, okay, whenever you're giving an CT or DBT images of any patient, your machine learning algorithm should tell which is kidney, which is liver, which is spleen and all, okay. So object detection is there. Segmenting means what? Separating one particular object, okay. So whenever you take the CT scan of your abdomen, there will be a lot of organs, overlapping of organs will be there. If you take CT scan for brain, means you will be having a single organ. There is no problem in that. You will be having the front part and the back portion of your brain. So that is quite easy to identify the object, right? But consider the cases where you have overlapping organs. Okay, when you take full CT abdomen, you will be having an overlapping of organs. In that case, your machine learning algorithms can easily identify whether the stone is available in liver or in kidney. So it can easily identify the number of the objects. Okay, how many objects are there? What are the types of the organs available? So it can easily track everything. Okay. So it is mainly useful for speech recognition, information retrieval, and online Google advertisements, right? So you will be receiving advertisements also, right? Nowadays, whenever you see YouTube, right? Depending upon the interest, you will be frequently getting the ads, and it will be asking whether the ad is appropriate or inappropriate or relevant or irrelevant, right? So all those things you're getting only because of this machine learning kind of things, right? And for drug discovery, okay, for predicting new medicines, for drug combinations, for identifying the drug combinations also, your machine learning algorithms are much useful, okay. And as I already told, credit card fraud detection and price market prediction and all, stock market prediction and all, it can easily identify with the help of the machine learning algorithm, okay. And mainly for predicting whether, see, for example, a person is admitted in the hospital, okay. With the help of the previous history of that patient, your machine learning algorithm will easily tell whether readmission is required for that patient or not, so that you can book the rooms or ICU rooms for that particular patient, which is nowadays, no, it's very important, right? So depending upon the risk of the patient, depending upon the history, your machine learning algorithm will easily identify whether the person is at high risk or not, and it will automatically predict whether that particular person needs an emergency room or not. So even this can be identified with the help of machine learning algorithms, right? So far, is there any doubt? So apart from this, there are different types of learning available, right? So far, you all know how the machine learning can be done, right? So whenever the machine learning algorithm is given, it can be a support vector machine or it can be linear regression algorithm. There are a lot of algorithms available. If time permits, maybe I can just give you an introduction about all those algorithms also by tomorrow or day after tomorrow. But even then, what is required for machine learning? A lot of training data is required. Okay, so lot of training data that are balanced. Of course, imbalanced, the data which are not balanced will not give you a good result. So it leads to generalization error, right? So the training data are very much important to make the machine to learn for the particular task. The performance will be improved depending upon the experience E. Okay, so machine learning means, keep in your mind, there are 3 parameters: experience, task, and the performance. Okay, so this can be performed in 4 ways. Okay, supervised learning, unsupervised learning, semi-supervised learning, and the reinforcement learning. Okay, so what is supervised learning? I told you, no, you need a training data. So you're giving the data along with the output. Okay, so you're helping the machine to understand and learn better. Okay, so the input the corresponding, I told you, know, the patient is non-diabetic or diabetic depending upon the features of that particular patient, right? So both the input along with the features is also given, and the corresponding output is also given, whether the particular patient is a diabetic or not. That data is also given. Or in case of object identifying, okay, an image is given and you're telling that whether that particular image, the object in the image is a cat or a dog. Okay, so that is the output. So training data is available along with the output, that is called supervised learning. Okay, unsupervised learning means, as the name suggests, right? Unsupervised means only the data will be given, but either it is a diabetic or non-diabetic, that information will not be there. So output will not be there, only input alone will be given for unsupervised learning. Okay, so the machine has to predict whether it is type 1 kind of disease or type 2 kind of disease. Okay, so now unsupervised learning, in the sense only the training, sorry for the interruption, right? So for unsupervised learning, in the sense the training data alone will be given, but the output will not be given. Okay, and semi-supervised, in the sense training data with some of the inputs will be given. It's not that all the data will be having the output, right? So for example, if you have 1000 data, the output will be given only for 500 data. Okay, so semi-supervised learning, in the sense your training data include only few outputs, whereas for the remaining input, the system has to identify and predict the output by itself. Okay, reinforcement learning means penalty or punishments or rewards will be given for the system. Okay, so depending upon whether it is a penalty or rewards given, the system will make the prediction. Okay, see, for vacuum cleaning and for playing chess online, this reinforcement learning is useful. For playing games in online, designing games and all, reinforcement learning is useful, right? So these are the different types of learning that actually happens, which is supervised, unsupervised, semi-supervised, and reinforcement. So supervised means training data along with outputs will be given. Unsupervised learning means training data will be given without any outputs. Okay, semi-supervised means data will be given with some outputs. That's all. The remaining, for remaining 500 inputs, your system only should predict the output. Whereas for reinforcement learning, the rewards, punishments, and penalties will be given to your system, to your algorithm. So depending upon that, an automatic learning will happen. Okay, so I'll stop here. So these are the 4 kinds of learning that actually happens, right? And maybe in the next class tomorrow, we will learn what is supervised learning, how the prediction is actually done. Okay, so all these kinds of things we will just see tomorrow, and followed by that we will have a hands-on session.